skipping is fun. It's kind of like play, and that's where we are today. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. I don't know what rhymes with rhyme. Anyway, this is where we are today. Fun, food, simple. Let's go inside and check it out. And I'll whistle. This is Mike. Mike has the very fancy, beautiful shirt here, the embroidered shirt with your name, first and last, no middle name? Why?
No, I always remember my middle name, but I can never remember my first and last.
That's key. Yeah, it's key for people to identify who you are by first or last
That's
name.
exactly right.
All right. And you are an executive chef, as I can see here?
It's true.
Yeah?
That's what my jacket says.
So it must be true. It's not the business card. It's what the jacket says. So tell us a little bit about where we are today. This is Play, and what's the theme or the idea behind this place?
This is Play. We're at 1 York Street, right at the corner of York and Sussex in the market. Mm-hmm. The idea of this, the name sort of comes from our idea of opening a small plates restaurant. Okay. So we have another restaurant that's a little more traditional format. So when we did our second, we wanted to do something a little different. In other words, we didn't want to sort of replicate the first. We're like, let's change it up. Mm-hmm. Let's do something with the city that the city hasn't done yet. And so we decided to do a sort of I guess a small plates. And I wouldn't say we introduced it, but more of a non-ethnic influenced small plates. Like
right.
Not a tapas, not a meze type thing, but just whatever we decide to come up with.
Okay.
So the idea of playing with the dining scene, whereas, it's not just appetizer, main course, dessert. It's like, come down, sit down, share 10 plates if you want.
So out of the different places that you have, is this more of your creative outlet then, this place?
I think the food is probably, I hesitate to use the word simplest, but it's probably the less elaborate, I guess. But yeah, we can change on a whim here easily. We can change things halfway through if we want. We have a pretty simple menu. We have about 25 items start to finish. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of pure that way. It's like it'll be 4 really good ingredients on a plate,
right.
And because of the size, you're encouraged to have 2 or 3 different things. So instead of getting bored by a 14-ounce steak and just the repetition of eating steak, it's like you can have 3 or 4 different dishes and still be well under 12, 13 ounces of food.
All right, one last question for you. It's one of my favorites to ask someone who does work in the kitchen quite often and with food. When you're at home and you're doing your own thing.
Yep.
And you're going, I'm going to make me, what is it? What are you making for yourself? Is it craft dinner? Because most people I talk to, when they're in your position, it's microwavable or it's on speed dial. Which one is it?
The speed dial thing I got to give credit to the speed dial thing, but grilled cheese. Grilled cheese is my big weakness.
Nice.
It's one of the first things I ever loved. So.
Now, is it gourmet grilled cheese or just your
No, it's straight up Kraft Singles and Wonder Bread.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to jump into the kitchen. We're going to see what you guys make here.
Perfect.
Thanks very much for having us.
Thanks, Tom.
All right.
Pleasure.
This is another gentleman who has his name embroidered on the jacket. Very fancy place you have here, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I pointed this out to him already off camera, but I'll do it for the benefit of you, the viewer. Tim Stock, Tom Schoch, change the I to an O, that to an H, and I could be him. It's like I'm your doppelganger.
Close.
Oh, so that's a hype joke. We're off to a roaring start in this show. My God, okay. Tim, how did you find yourself here in the sweltering heat of this kitchen?
Well, I used to work for a chef, Moffat at Becta Dining and Wine, 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
Some time passed, I was working in Winnipeg. I'm from Manitoba. I'm not going to apologize. So the position came up because the position actually opened at Becta.
Okay.
So chef de cuisine from Becta, he moved on. Katie Brown, the chef that was here, she took that position over there. And chef phoned me in Winnipeg and asked if I wanted to come on board, and I said yes.
So it's a little Days of Our Lives-ish?
Exactly.
I like that. Very soap opera. Are you a fan, by the way?
No, not really.
Young and the Restless?
No.
General Hospital?
No.
Melrose Place?
Nacho Libre.
Ah, okay. So that's your sense of humor. Perfect. Yeah. Now, with you working in the kitchen here, is there a certain style that you bring to the table? Does he leave you to your own devices, or are you working with him to design some of the different items that are on the menu here?
Well, I'm not allowed to put anything on the menu that's bad. So he makes sure it's good.
That is key, yes.
Well, I'm still learning. I have a lot to learn, and that's, Chef Moffat is part of my mentorship. So he does a very good job of letting me do what I feel is good and right. And he'll taste things, and we'll talk about things and discuss how to improve things or make them better. Part of my learning process, and of course to make sure our standards are where they need to be. So
Right. All right. Well, that all makes sense, and that sounds like a pretty good experience so far. If he ever hurts you in any way, you let me know. I'm like your safe place.
Perfect.
It's awkward, isn't it?
No, not at all.
You can be honest.
No, I'm being totally honest.
All right.
Not
Well,
awkward.
we have a harassment policy here, so you let me know if you need the paperwork after. So what are we making first here?
So we are going to make. So we're going to make a rainbow trout. So this is a lovely rainbow trout. It comes from Ontario. It's actually farmed, and it's a wonderful product. And it's made going with. So we have salsify. Salsify is a root vegetable, very similar to parsnips. I consider it a little less sweet than parsnips.
Okay.
And these are kingaringi mushrooms.
Those are huge.
They're big. So this is 2/3 of one mushroom.
Wow.
And this is called Purslane. So Purslane is a wild ground cover, or in some ways, sometimes it's cultivated. So this grows locally, Southern Ontario, Quebec. Our local suppliers, they literally go in the bush and pick it for us, wash it, and away we go. So
The washing is key. I like that. That's good.
it is. It's got nice, like a little bit of citrus hints to it. A little bit earthy. It's not too earthy though, so it's nice.
All right.
And then the final component is parsnip puree, which is right here. So the parsnip puree is cooked in cream at a very low heat, so it doesn't scorch. Salt and pepper. That's it. So it's very, very, very simple. So this we just put on the plate.
So, and the idea here, you're not going to get a massive plate here. You're going to get a nice small plate. It's more taste, savory, that kind of thing?
Exactly.
All right. So that's your first step. So what are you doing with this over here then?
So over here, we're going to make sure your pans are hot. Proper temperature control on your pans is important. So we're going to put the fish in first. It takes the longest to cook. Then we're going to season it up.
What kind of seasoning are you using? Just
Kosher salt and pepper.
is it in your experience, is it better to have something that's just really simple rather than overcomplicating it with a lot of seasoning and different types of?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I prefer olive oil, butter, salt, and pepper, and good ingredients. So pretty straightforward. So let that go very quickly, just to let the skin crisp up a little bit. We don't want the skin to over brown.
Right.
And of course, we certainly don't want it to burn. So, and minimal amount of heat, just enough to coat the sides a little bit, but not enough to come up over top of it, because we don't want to deep fry it.
Right. So how long would you leave that on the pan for then?
Just like that.
That's
So
it?
then it goes up into the salamander, and that's that. So
Wow.
So while that's
I need
going,
one of those for my kitchen.
Everybody needs one of those. So dump out the excess oil over there. Throw in our mushrooms, and now I always season in layers. So every time I put something new in the pan, I'll add a bit of seasoning.
Okay.
You know, I don't like to see the seasoning on top. And if you're, you know, chefs with really good palates, when they're eating something, they can always taste it, whether it has been seasoned at the start or at the end. So salt, a little bit of pepper.
And for something like mushrooms, which for some people is a challenge to cook, they either overcook it or undercook it, what's the happy medium that we're looking at here?
Well, if your pan's not hot enough, you're going to bring all the liquid in the mushroom. You're not going to get any browning on it.
Right.
So you got to make sure the pan's hot enough. Obviously, if it's too hot, it'll scorch. And if the pan's hot enough, it cooks really fast. A little bit of butter, so that makes everything better.
Yes, it does. I use it to tan sometimes.
And then we'll take Purslane. Usually I let this reduce a little bit more.
Now what we're seeing right here, is this the juice from the mushrooms and everything kind of coming out together?
Yeah, this is veg stock we throw in there. Throw in the Purslane. And then we're going to go back to the fish. So that's what you're looking for.
Very
Go
nice.
back up here. That's done.
Do you like eating the skin off the fish? Is that something you enjoy?
Yeah, I do enjoy that.
For some people, it seems almost like it's it's that icky factor. They don't like eating the skin, but it's where the best flavor is, right?
Right. No, absolutely. So usually I like to reduce this rate down a little bit, but we can just go ahead and play it the way it is. So, very simple plating.
Wow, that looks great. It's awesome. So now something like this with these ingredients, is this just by trial and error? Is this something that you thought, you know what, this would go nicely together?
It's just something I thought would go nicely together. Pretty straightforward.
I really need one of those. It's almost like a transformer. It's great.
And then, again, more butter. Butter up on top. And this just goes on top like this.
Very nice.
And then to finish up, there's a little bit of lemon oil. This kind of ties everything together.
Very
Just
nice.
gets rid of the earth, and that's it.
All right, so if you're ordering this from the menu, this is
the rainbow trout.
very simple.
Yeah,
All right.
very simple, very, very tasty.
Rainbow trout by Tim.
All
right
right.
here. Play.
Excellent.
Tim has been very nice in deciding to come back for the next part of the show.
Here we are.
Thanks for coming back, Tim.
No problem, no
Yeah,
problem.
it's very nice of you to do that. So we've done the trout, so now we're going to move on to something that
Scallops.
a lot of people have a problem cooking. They just don't know how to cook it, they overcook it, or they don't know what a good scallop looks like. So what are people looking for if they are going to go out and buy scallops? What are some of those characteristics that you look for?
The best thing that someone can go and buy for scallops at home is exhaust system. because you need to get your pan really hot.
Right.
And it needs to get to the smoking point a little bit higher. And as soon as you put your scallops in there, remove the oil, add your butter, it creates a lot of smoke.
Right.
Well, I shouldn't say smoke, but fire alarms and stuff like that are going to go off. So,
All right.
But scallops are looking, I mean, you obviously want your size. These are 1020s. These are from Alaska. These are great. The thing that, to get a really good sear, is they have to be thawed properly and dry.
Right.
So we keep ours between protein linens so that there's no surface moisture on them.
Right.
And you know, a lot of people when they're at home, they take their scallops, usually they're frozen, they throw them in the microwave or in some water, and then they seize them, try and cook them, but there's all that moisture. So you're not going to get any of that browning. Okay. And that's going to cause more smoke. So,
smoke is not good. Some smoke is good.
Some smoke is good.
All right.
So that's the key here.
So they should be dry, and then you put your seasoning on, and then it'll stick to, and you won't get that kind of extra moisture that's in it.
Exactly. I put my seasoning on just before they go in the pan.
Right.
That way the salt doesn't have time to draw the moisture out.
All right.
So before we sear those off, we're going to get the plate set up. So what we have here is we have a sweet pea puree with a little bit of arugula in it. Arugula adds some more depth and color and a little bit of pepper to it.
Is this something that you would make yourself as well?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
Absolutely. So this is a very straightforward dish. And then here we have a grilled corn salsa. So there's jalapenos. We have a homemade spice of paprika, cayenne pepper, cumin, and fennel seed.
Very nice.
We grill off corn, we grill off the red onions and the jalapenos. That's it. So it's very, very easy.
So when you say grill, what do you actually put it on a grill?
Yeah, we oil and season them, throw them on our grill, get grill marks on them, some of that color, and then we make the salsa from there.
Nice. So, I mean, I get the idea that you guys do, this seems complicated when you see this as an average person. You look at this, you're like, wow, I could never make this, but very simple ingredients.
So, yeah, simple. This is 2 ingredients, that's 5.
Right.
Not including salt and pepper.
All right. So it looks complicated, but it's not.
Yeah.
All right.
And we, at Play Food and Wine, people that ask for our recipes, we gladly give it to them.
Really?
Yeah, so we don't hide our recipes. A lot of people do. They get a lot of emails for recipes. So.
Okay, very nice. So if you're thinking that you can't do something like this, remember you can, but you'll never be as good as Tim, so don't even bother applying for his job.
Yeah, don't try.
Yeah, right. Unless you're a better looking person, right? Then that's all fair.
That's fair.
All right.
Yeah, that's fair. This is an open kitchen, so the better looking, the better. The better it is.
All right, so now the scallops.
Yep, so season.
Again, with just the salt and the pepper?
Kosher salt and pepper, nice generous part of the seasoning. So my pan is hot, you can see the smoke coming off it, so it's ready to go. And don't throw them in here, you don't want to splash the oil.
What's the best burn you've had working in a kitchen? Do you want to show me your scars?
I don't really have a lot of scars. I got little ones.
No, so these are burn scars? Any cut scars?
Yeah, I got some cut scars here.
He's not pretty anymore.
Stealing in my, when I was a student, straight into my thumb.
Ah.
So, now I always...
I don't do well with injuries.
I get a lot of injuries, so I do very well with injuries. Anyway, so you want to move your scallops around a little bit. The reason why, if you put your scallops in the pan and just leave them, you're going to get nice searing on the inside, but you're going to get this little white circle in the middle of the scallop. So if you want browning throughout the whole scallop.
Now, why use what you're using? I mean, most people would use a spatula, something as simple as that, but you're using...
Yeah, well, this more precise.
Yeah?
I was like, tongs are clumsy, spatulas are clumsy.
Is this just a personal choice for you?
Well, almost every chef here in Play and our all three restaurants use these. So.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So you're going to get some color on them. There has some nice color. And then we're going to get rid of this oil.
See, mine never looked like that, ever.
Now comes the best part. Behind you.
Yep.
Sorry. Butter.
I love that butter is the secret ingredient. And people shouldn't be afraid of using butter. A lot of people have this stigma about butter that it's not good for you.
Wow, it's better than margarine. It's a natural product, right? So you're, and it's not like you're eating all that. So you're not going to... Oops, no, I'm having a hard time here. There we go. Okay,
Very
so...
nice. It's got a great smell to it as well.
This is why you use chopsticks, because you can put it exactly where you want.
Placement is key.
Then, to finish these off, we have yucca chips. So
what is a yucca chip?
Yucca is a tuber, South African or South American. Very, very, very starchy. Like, they're really hard.
How do you find something like this? Are you just going to random grocery stores and seeing some of the stuff they have?
No, I've used these before. I mean, you can buy these from most grocery stores, actually.
By the way, in this show, you're allowed to say, Tom, that is a really stupid question.
That's a stupid question.
Perfect.
All right. So that's it. That's the end of the dish.
All right.
Pretty
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nicely done scallops, nice even browning on everything, and it just looks amazing.
Perfect.
All right. So are you going to come back for the next part of the show, maybe?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah?
I'll be here. We'll do a vegetarian one.
That'd be good, because otherwise we're stuck just playing, commercials probably for the...
No one wants commercials.
No.
All right, good to go.
I've had to entice Tim back with a special surprise at the end of this segment, so there will be a special surprise, so thanks again for coming back.
No problem.
Really appreciate it. So we're on to number 3, dish number 3. So what is this that we're making right now?
So now we're going to do vegetarian. So this is gnocchi. This part of the gnocchi is on our menu all the time. What changes is the garnish.
All right.
So what we have right now is sage. This is Swiss chard. Mushrooms. So we have Nameko mushrooms, shiitakes, and oysters. And cherries that are pickled.
Does it change based on the season?
Yes.
All right.
Very seasonal.
So is this something that you have a local supplier for? Or is this something that's just basically in season here in Ottawa?
It's whatever we have from our local suppliers that is of best quality in its season.
So if I came here in the winter, what would be the typical ingredients that you would see as a side here?
Well, last year during wintertime, our gnocchi was it was a cream-based gnocchi with truffle oil and capers, caperberry relish.
It's a little bit more rich for winter.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So what do we do here? What goes in first?
So what goes in first is our oil, which is already in the pan. The pan's hot.
Do you want the same thing? Do you want this like a smoking kind of hot for something like this?
Yeah, exactly. So you want to get some browning on this. You don't want it to stick. If it's not hot enough, they'll stick. And then I fill the mushrooms in at the same time. So mushrooms you want to get some color on. Plus, eventually the mushrooms are going to release the liquid, which is going to help deglaze the pan in a sense, so that the gnocchi won't stick to it. So it's also helps you.
And when people are cooking at home, or just when you first started really getting into this seriously, is it better to be cooking at a really high temperature than at a medium to low temperature, or does it just depend on the food?
Depends on what you're doing. Right? I mean, if you're braising, you're not going to do anything at a high temperature, right? Here, our typical build time at Plates with Wine is about 8 to 10 minutes.
Right.
So these pans are cranked. And we do 1,000 plates in a day. We only have 4 burners. So we got to move quick.
That also would have been a good opportunity for you to say, Tom, that's a stupid question.
It's a stupid question.
We should have a counter on the show. Maybe.
Two.
Yeah,
We're at
that's
two.
two.
Okay, so now we got some browning on the gnocchi. It's where we want to be. They're not sticking. They're looking good. So now we're going to throw in sage and our cherries. And again, a little bit more seasoning. Season in layers. A little bit of veg stock. So it's just enough to deglaze the pan. Now for the best part, brown butter.
Brown butter.
The only thing better than butter is brown butter.
What is that?
So brown butter is butter that you just cook until it's brown.
Again,
Really
that's three.
hard.
So that's
It's
three.
really hard,
That's three
yeah.
stupid questions.
So we're at 3.
All right.
So we're gonna deglaze a little bit. You're gonna mix the butter in there, and you're gonna reduce it a bit.
For an ingredient that has more sugar in it, something like a cherry, is it easier for that to burn?
Well, yes, but we also put a lot of vinegar in there. There's rice wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, so they're not over sugary. Then we finish it with a little bit of Swiss chard. Swiss chard takes all 30 seconds to cook, and just a little bit more salt, a little more pepper.
See, I notice you're using almost, no seasoning at all except for your different butters, your oils, and salt and pepper. Is that just because of the simplicity of the different dishes that you're putting together?
Yeah, and they're very simple. And again, you're seasoning in layers, so you're not throwing a lot of seasoning at the end.
Mm-hmm. It smells amazing. I love that smell of butter that comes through whenever it's that perfect color.
It's pretty nice. And you gotta get every last drop of that out.
Do you ever drink the butter straight from the pan? Be honest.
No, definitely not.
I would. I guess that makes me a fatty.
No, that was a great question.
That's 4.
So, this is it. We're done.
All right.
Very straightforward.
So something like this, what would you take as a drink with this? Is that a nice white wine or more of a straight up gin?
You can talk to my sommelier about
I'm
that.
talking more about you. Are you a more
Me?
straight up gin kind of guy?
No, God, no. No. I like red wine, and I like Pinot Noir. Does it go with this? Doesn't matter to me.
All right, there you go. So 3 beautiful plates from Tim and 4 stupid questions for me. Unless the 5?
3.5.
3.5? All right, that's fair enough. All right, so right here at Play, come and check out Tim's cooking. All right, so down here in the markets, you have some beautiful food, and you have beautiful people like yourself, and your beautiful chef Tim. I can't believe he came back.
Tim ran away, so I'm back.
Well, that's okay.
All the hard work's done now, so I'm back.
Oh, so you take credit for it.
Yeah, I'm like a Visa machine.
All right, so if people want to check you out online, where do they go?
Online, it's playfood.ca.
Yeah.
Just the way it sounds.
Perfect. And they can make reservations, that kind of stuff on
Yeah,
there as well?
online reservations, completely self-help system, so it's great. You don't even have to talk to a person.
All right. Well,
And if you want to call, you can talk to a person. Just won't be me.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not that personable.
I get that from you. Not
That's
really.
why I gave you Tim.
Well, he is much more personal, but you have the nicer hair, so really we would have...
We'll just go with the hair.
Well, that's a little awkward.
Not for me.
So once again, if people are looking for you physically, you're coming down here to the market to actually have dinner, you are at?
1 York Street, corner
right.
of York and Sussex.
Very easy to find. Amazing food, amazing chef, amazing people. Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks, Tom.
Really
Pleasure.
appreciate it. And I'm going to eat one of these 3. Which one should I eat?
All 3.
That sounds like a challenge. I'm going to try this because I saw the brown butter, which apparently doesn't come from a brown cow, which you pointed out to me after.
I'm just telling you, Tim was leading you down the garden path on that.
Yeah.
Browning butter.
Oh, by the way, Tim, hang on a second. Come here for a second. Come here. I forgot to do one thing for you. Just stand right next to me so you get an awkward waist hug. There you go. Yeah. Oh, the shoulder rub.
The head rub.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Thanks for watching Ottawa Eats.